KineScribe is an app for the iPad that I developed very much in conjunction with David Rowley, who you all know is the programmer for Laban, which was developed at Ohio State. And we're really excited that Reed College has supported this project, as well as Ohio State and the National Endowment for the Humanities. So many things, and the version of KineScribe that you all have is currently the first version. There are more versions in progress, and so we of course welcome feedback, so that as we continue to develop the program, we can make it bigger and better and more user-friendly and kind of more broadly applicable. So what I wanted to start with is just sort of a basics of how to use the iPad, and then we'll get into some of the using of KineScribe, and then that'll maybe be the first part of the session, and then we can talk a little bit about broad accessibility and applications and some thoughts I have that I wanted to throw by all of you. So I will say that if this is one of your first times using an iPad, some of this stuff does take a little bit of practice. I first started using an iPad when they first came out because I love gadgets and I was so excited. But it took me a good couple of months to really make it intuitive, to figure out how it all works. So if today things are not quite making sense, don't worry about it, it will. But I found that there's just a real learning curve with using touch technology. So just know that as we're going through. A good thing to know is that sometimes KineScribe freezes or it crashes. You may have experienced this on other pieces of technology. And the way to clear the program is to do the following. So if everyone opens KineScribe on their screen, and then if you hit the home button, which is the button with the square on it at the bottom of your iPad, if you have the camera at the top, which is what I recommend, if you click that button once and it brings you back to your home screen. And then if you double click, it's called multitasking, if you double click on that button, everything will shrink and you'll sort of see everything that's open at once. Then you take your finger and with one clean swipe, just push the KineScribe window up and it floats away, and that you've just quit the program.
Okay.
Great, thank you. So a couple of things about how your fingers interact with the touch screen. One finger scrolls, so that if you're back in KineScribe and you've just got the blank graph paper in front of you, gently with one finger, and as I was explaining to my niece when she was 2 and I was teaching her how to use an iPad, I told her it's like direct and light. Your touch is direct and light. So if you have one direct light touch, you'll notice that the page kind of moves around. Do you notice that? Mm-hmm. So if you touch and then drag a little bit, the page moves. When we add more pages, I'll show you how to scroll through, or if there's a score with multiple pages, you can scroll through, but that's how you do it. In any iPad program, so any of the word processing programs, also KineScribe, one long touch like that makes the pages scroll. So it's as if on your mouse you're doing this, but that's what's happening here. Also what you'll notice as you push things aside is that you'll see this linen background behind you, and that just is the back end of the program. So that's the edge. When you see the edge of the graph paper, that's literally the edge of the page. And you'll see this if you use Pages or other Apple programs, you'll also see that linen background is kind of what's underneath, so that if this piece of paper were on the table and I moved it, right, I'd be seeing the table. So that's all that is. So one finger touching and dragging does different things depending on what you're touching and what you're dragging. So if you're just on the graph paper, it will move the paper. But if you activate a symbol, which I'll show you how to do, if you're in the middle of making a symbol longer, that same quality of touch, that light and direct, can stretch a symbol as if in Laban you click and drag. Yeah, so that's how that works. There's also, when you take one finger and you have a dab, right? That action doesn't do anything right now because we're not selecting anything, but that is the action to select. But make sure that you're just doing it with one finger, because 2 fingers does something else. So just know that that's coming.
What does 2 fingers do?
We'll get there.
What about
but
3 fingers?
3 fingers also, I don't think it does something in our program yet, but it does things like if you take 3 fingers and you swipe across a program, or is it 4 fingers? Well, anyway, there's different things that the iPad has that you can do it. So one of the cool things about KineScribe actually is that you get sort of a kinesthetic experience as you're writing. So what we'll do is we'll just we'll start with using, let's see, how many of you, let's start here. So over on the left-hand side, you'll see the words open file. And if you just tap once with that dab,
You want to get there?
You can go.
you'll see the file scroll open. Some of you who are using
That was simple.
DNB iPads might have some scores listed there. If you don't, you might just have the word new score. How many of you only have new score? Okay, cool.
Even I have a score.
I have a
So
I have Untitled.
What are you going to sample?
untitled sample counts as a
Probably
score.
gibberish.
Good, good.
Well, I have Pasacalias.
Good. So, so it sounds like May loaded some scores onto some of these. The way that you get a score from Laban Writer onto the iPad is through syncing. And I was unable to bring my computer, so I don't have that for you. But maybe May, is this computer connected to one of your iPads? Like, does it talk to it, or is there a computer in here that talks to one of your iPads?
Maybe that one.
This one, because it has Pasacalia on it, so it might.
Yeah. So maybe after we take a break, we can hook it up and show how the syncing works, because that also is not entirely intuitive. So if you are near someone with a score, just look on with them. And I'll also, you can look on with me. And so if you tap on the name of the score,
Just one?
yep,
Yeah.
just tap it once, and there's a
Why don't
little,
you do it?
there's sometimes
Oh,
a
the
delay
keys
depending
there?
on how full your iPad is.
This is just my test.
Untitled sample is blank though.
Because there's nothing in there. You didn't add any symbol to it.
So then once you have a score open, and I'll just do like this, it opens currently on the last page, so you have to scroll to the first page, so we're figuring that out. But with that one single scroll, you can scroll through. Now, one of the two finger gestures involves your finger and your thumb, and it's like this. It's called a pinch. So if you put both down at the same time, you can magnify.
Like that.
Yeah, just like the iPhone, exactly like the iPhone.
Oh,
And then
I
she got it. Yeah.
Do the pinch.
And then if you do the double tap. Oops.
No, you got
Oops. Sorry, I can't do it that way.
it.
If
You
you
gotta go like both fingers down at the same time.
then you can pinch again, and it comes back to normal. And you can also do a double tap, and it'll pop right back to the normal size. But for now, what I want to show everyone how to do is how to make a score and draw the symbols. And so one way, the only way to clear a current score is if you go into the open file, tap on it once, and then click on the words new score. And that gives you a new score.
And it should say Untitled on top.
And it says Untitled on top.
And has the other one disappeared?
The other one is in your score bank. So that that open file thing, that whole drawer that slides out, has all your scores in it. That's where they all live.
And can
Because-
you have, all right, well, I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
it. Could we have written on that score that we had open
Yeah.
before?
Mhm.
We could have played with it just as though it was in Laban Writer.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mhm.
Think you
And
have
then
to
you
hold it down,
can
yeah.
save it either
So
as
you went
itself
in
or
your
as something new.
Got
Okay.
Untitled.
Okay. Yeah. Brenda, did you find it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the
Awesome.
symbols.
Okay.
when I-
So then take that same dab quality and click once on the symbol palette. Now, just so you know, the symbol palette is changing. It has already changed on an update that David and I are working on. So the next time you see this will look different. Or the next time you download it, it will look different. But for now, here's the symbol palette. Just something to note. If you turn your iPad to the landscape mode instead of the portrait mode, you'll notice that the bottom part of the symbol palette disappears. Yeah, this will not happen in the new update. So just know that. So all of the good stuff like floor plans and the staff are on the bottom. So that's why I told everyone to use it this way.
The IT term for that is truncation.
Truncation. There is truncation. Now, all of the symbols,
Truncation in Labanotation too, with side symbols.
yes. Now, the symbols, if you look kind of up from the direction symbols down to the addressing bows, all of those act like stretchables in Laban Writer. So even if they're not stretchable in Laban Writer, they're now stretchable in KineScribe. The next row underneath
You mean
that,
vertically stretchable? Like like a relationship bow gets.
Mhm.
Why would you want it?
Like
Don't you want that horizontally stretchable? Or am I looking at the wrong thing?
well, there are horizontally.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
No, but like the cup gets deeper?
You'll see. Yes.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, and then if there's as you're playing with them, if there's anything that is looking incorrect, just let me know and we'll fix it in the drawing.
Hannah, when you point it, can you tilt it
Yes.
so the light
So
doesn't?
that the light doesn't.
Yeah.
do it, yeah. So these all down through here through these addressing bows, those all stretch. And then the second to last row on the far left, you'll see the ad-lib symbol, and that does stretch. And then you'll see a hold sign, a center of weight, and a motif pause with feeling. And those are all, I've been calling them stamps.
it's
I don't
called
know.
stillness.
Stillness. Oh, yes. When I learned motif, they said pause with feeling, and that's how I always,
Well,
because
that's
you've got
right.
the...
There's
many feelings.
That's a pause. A pause. This is a symbol for pausing specifically with expressiveness or
Yes,
and
with the
aliveness.
outflowing energy, right?
Right.
Yes.
So still, but and the name for it is stillness.
Stillness, excellent. Well, it stamps. So, so these three, you place it once, it doesn't stretch. You can enlarge it and make it smaller, it doesn't stretch. And then on the bottom, we've got things that act a little bit differently. Over on the far left is the staff. Next to the staff is the floor plan, facing, and then a text box. So those all act very differently, and I'll explain them differently. But let's first play with the stretchable symbols, because they're the most simple and yet also complicated. So pick any stretchable symbol. I'm going to go with a forward symbol. Now, how you select it is with the symbol palette open, you do that dab once on the symbol. Then you have to do once off the palette. Then you place your finger and you drag, and that's what draws the
So
symbol.
my thing disappeared.
Yes, so the symbol palette goes away.
You have to touch it again.
Then touch symbols again, and then bring it. So I have to go this, and
Yeah,
this.
so I'm going to go through that whole thing again. Wait, I'm just going to go through it again. All right, everyone.
Same thing.
So here's the order of operations. So you've got your symbol palette open. Sometimes this doesn't work when I do it vertically, so just bear with me. You've got your symbol palette open. You pick one of the stretchables. That's tap 1. Tap 2 is you just do that to make the palette go away. Tap 3 is click and drag.
Okay.
I see. You
You
don't
gotta
have
drag,
to do
you have
symbols
to
again.
touch and drag at the same time, otherwise you're gonna be left with.
A teeny
little
tiny.
like-
Something like
Yeah.
And then if you do your symbols again, then the palette comes back and
Right.
this is still there.
Exactly.
What if you want to delete?
If you want to delete, you just tap on the symbol that you want to delete, and you should get, it should encase it in a blue box with little dots. Now, before you delete, let's say you want to make it bigger. Once you have those dots, you put your finger on one of the dots, and it will drag in that direction and make it bigger in either direction.
Let's try that.
But while it's selected, you just go up to the little like sensor sign in the upper right-hand corner, and you tap on it, and that makes the symbol disappear.
Say it again.
So to delete a symbol, I tap once on the symbol. Ignore the thing that popped up right now. And then I go into the upper right-hand corner of the screen where the little sensor symbol is, and I tap once, and it makes the symbol go
There
away.
you go.